I'm Crimo, the anonymous investigator. This week I cover the case of Mekayla Bali. The morning of the 12th of April 2016 was no different for Paula Bali and her daughter Mekayla. The pair were in the bathroom putting on their makeup, listening to music and talking about their day. A short time later, Paula's mum Margaret drove them both to school and work. Mekayla is dropped off at the Sacred Heart High School between 8:10 and 8:20 a.m. Margaret was due to pick her up from school later that day and take her to her music lesson. But when school ended that afternoon, there was no sign of Mekayla. Margaret wondered whether she was still inside the school. Maybe she was busy with something and lost track of time. Mekayla's grandmother went into the school to see if she was there, but Mekayla's teachers and friends say that they hadn't seen her for most of the day. Now concerned for her granddaughter's safety, Margaret drives to Paula's office and tells her that Mekayla had gone missing. Paula reported Mekayla missing to the Yorkton RCMP that night, and a missing persons case was opened. The police tried to retrace Mekayla's steps and discover that on the day she disappeared, she had logged onto the school Wi-Fi network at around 8:08 a.m. At 8:21 a.m, Mekayla put a binder inside her locker. The police said that the binder had nothing of significance in it. By 8:26 a.m, she had left the school through a back entrance. Detectives decide to gather CCTV footage from the area near the school. It's not clear what path Mekayla took when she left the school that morning, along the main road or a trail through the bush, but she was soon captured by a surveillance camera at the Super C convenience store. It recorded her walking along the railroad tracks until she left the frame. Mekayla was next seen at the local TD Bank. She arrived before the bank opened. From 8:51 a.m, surveillance footage shows her talking on her phone while she waited for the doors to open. She ends the call and approaches a teller when a worker slides open the shutters at 8:55 a.m. The phone call at the bank didn't register on her teller's account. In fact, not a single call she made throughout the day went through tellers, meaning that they likely took place through apps. Mekayla withdrew $55 from the bank, then headed east towards Terry's Pawn and Bargain, where she arrived at 9 a.m. She approached owner Terry Hedden as he stood doing his morning chores. According to Terry, Mekayla was there to get a silver ring assessed. He previously told police it might have been 2 rings. The silver value's really low, so it just wasn't enough value in the ring to even bother making an offer on it, Terry said. She was quiet, didn't seem to be in any distress or anything. Terry said Mekayla didn't look upset when he turned her down. She simply left the store, heading south. Surveillance footage from the local home hardware store shows the teenager striding purposefully down the sidewalk towards a combined Tim Hortons and Wendy's. There were 2 cameras in the restaurant. Footage shows Mekayla using cash to buy a hot drink, then sitting in a booth opposite the glass counter. She is facing away from the main entrance. She appears to be using her phone. Mekayla sits in the booth for the next 13 minutes. The stuffed backpack she'd been carrying since she left school is at the table next to her. One of her friends later said that Mekayla used to only carry a purse to school, not a backpack. At one point she appears to take her phone apart, put it back together, then start using it again. At 9:23 a.m, she grabs her bag and walks out of the restaurant through one exit. then turns and walks back through the restaurant to exit through the other door. She walks north, past the surveillance camera at Home Hardware, until she is out of view. She reappears on the Home Hardware camera at 9:42 a.m, emerging from behind a giant Tiger store and heading back to the Tim Hortons. She has her phone up to her ear as she walks inside the restaurant at 9:49 a.m. Again, there's no record of the call. This time Mekayla sits at a different booth, closer to the window and facing the door. Her call ends, and for the next 10 minutes she appears to be waiting, either sending messages or browsing on her phone and looking out of the windows periodically. Then at 10:12 a.m, she sends a text message to her friend, Shelby. Mekayla is on and off her phone 6 times over the next half an hour. It was during this period that she sent Shelby another text, "Never mind, I figured it out." At one point she grabs her bag whilst talking on the phone and leaves the restaurant. Less than 2 minutes later, she walks back in and returns to the same booth. At 10:43 a.m, she leaves her seat and approaches an older lady sitting at a table near her booth. The police spoke to that woman, and she told them that Mekayla had asked her for her help renting a hotel room. The woman said she was not sure if Mekayla needed money or just needed someone old enough to book the room. The woman said no. She told the police that Mekayla did not specify where she wanted the hotel room. The footage shows the teenager going back to her seat and making another call. Mekayla leaves the restaurant within a minute. Again, she appeared to be talking on the phone. At 11:35 a.m, she walked westbound back towards her school and sent Shelby another text, "I'll see you at lunch." At 11:59 a.m, Mekayla was back at the Sacred Heart High School. She told 2 students, Ali Clarkson and Joannick Buckle, that she was going to take a bus for a vacation to Regina. One of them later told police that Mekayla might have had 2 phones with her at the time. A surveillance camera over the front door caught Mekayla walking back out of the school doors. The footage shows her walking away and stepping out of view as she goes round the corner away from the school entrance. The police also discovered that Mekayla had been seen at Yorkton bus depot that same day. An employee of the depot told detectives that she remembered seeing Mekayla sometime between 10 a.m. and noon. The employee also said that Mekayla wanted to know what time the bus was leaving. When the attendant told her 5 p.m, Mekayla decided not to buy a ticket. The teenager was also spotted in the Trail Stop restaurant, a diner-style eatery connected to the depot. Cheryl McDougall was waitressing that day. She said that Mekayla sat alone at a table and ordered poutine. The RCMP interviewed a woman who'd seen Mekayla with a man carrying some bags. The woman helped the police make a sketch of a tattoo on the man's left arm, a cross with red flames coming off it. The sketch was released to the public. A man came forward to say he thought he might be the person the police were looking for. RCMP questioned him and concluded he was simply holding the door for Mekayla when she was at the bus depot. His name was never released. The police don't believe that Mekayla bought a ticket or got onto a bus in Yorkton. By 7 a.m. on the 13th of April, Mekayla's cell phone was turned off. The police learned that on the 11th of April, the day before Mekayla went missing, she had lunch with Shelby and another friend, Oksana, at a fast food restaurant. In their statements to the police, Mekayla's friends said that they remember her talking about going somewhere, maybe Moose Jaw and Prince Albert. Shelby and some of Mekayla's other classmates recalled her saying she was going to Regina for a vacation with her family. Shelby thought that Mekayla also mentioned going to Saskatoon. Shelby told the police she remembered Mekayla talking about a boy named Josh, but when she tried to ask her about him on the 11th of April, she didn't respond. Amy Lang, who wasn't at the lunch, said Mekayla had told her about a man named Christopher, who was coming to Saskatchewan to meet her. After the fast food lunch, Mekayla went back to school for a Christian ethics class. Her teacher later told the police that the teenager seemed upset during class. At 4:35 p.m, after school was over, Mekayla sent a message to Oksana asking for a ride to the bank the next day, adding it was really important. Between 5:30 p.m. and 6 p.m, Mekayla called TD Bank customer service 3 times. She checked her account balance and transferred $25. Between 8:50 p.m. and 9:30 p.m, she sent text messages to an ex-boyfriend, Shelby, and Amy Lang. Police can use TELUS data from cell phone towers to see who a person sent and received messages from and at what time, but the company does not retain any information from the message. Investigators have to rely on friends and family providing copies of the texts to see what's inside, which is what they did with Mekayla's friends. Mekayla told Amy Lang that she needed help, but didn't respond when Lang asked why. She messaged Shelby about a boy, feeling bad for someone, and crying. The ex-boyfriend told police that Mekayla's message that night said she was unhappy and thinking about going to Regina for a couple of days. There have been several reported sightings of Mekayla Bali, but she still remains missing. Shelby sent Mekayla a message through Snapchat on the day she disappeared. Somebody opened that message about 3 months later. Mekayla's family believe that she may have been kidnapped and is now a victim of human trafficking. Anyone with information is urged to come forward. Thank you for joining me. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss the next video. Join me next time when Crimo investigates.